So
Attorney, you say...
are you going to appeal? Are you going to file an MR?
Well, we will wait for the whole decision, including the concurring and dissenting opinions, for us to make a wise and prudent decision whether or not to send an MR to the Supreme Court.
In any case, Attorney, the fact that lawyers are already talking about a potential MR speaks to the fact that, nobody's closing the books here. And one of the things that I see a lot of lawyers pointing out is, one, there was basis to do a facial challenge, meaning kahit wala pa yung pwede na natin i-challenge yan. On the other hand, it says it also lays open not only the possibility, but the inevitability of as-applied challenges. Now, once meron ng mga potential violations. So speak to that. I mean, what is that really telling us, and what avenues are realistic to take once the law is applied?
Well, the law has been applied since the time it came into force. The Supreme Court never issued an injunction or a temporary restraining order. So it has always been applied. But you're correct. One option is to go for an MR. Also, this will also be considered depending on the actual voting and the specific issues. Kasi kung unanimous naman mga yan, medyo suntok sa buwan yung mag-MR pa. But if it is a divided court, and I think based on what is publicly declared, mukhang may mga dissenting opinions. And it is also very helpful for us to see what those opinions are, what is the basis for the majority to declare this not unconstitutional, and what's the basis for the dissenters to say they are unconstitutional. Para sa ganun, maaari namin gamitin, susugan yun. The other one also is some members of the Supreme Court will be retiring by next year. So there will be new faces in the Supreme Court. We hope that we will get better chances if there are new members of the Supreme Court. The other one also is the Supreme Court historically has changed its mind on some important issues when there are MRs brought before it.
Yes, sir. Pero sir, some of the petitioners said that they are hopeful that yung paglabas ng final decision, I mean the decision itself with explanations, would address their concerns, their other concerns na hindi na-address doon sa very brief statement na nilabas ng PIO. I'm wondering lang kung is there any more room for hope in the actual decision, barring a complete change of minds kung mag-MR. I mean, compared lang dun sa nilabas ng PIO na 2 amendments or two provisions struck down.
Well, would like to believe and we trust that the summary given by the PIO is accurate. So yung mga pagtatalakay dun sa mga malalaking puntos na bringing up ng mga petitioners, ay gagawin yan, but the vote is not in our favor. So yung discussing it is not enough. It's really changing the votes.
The vote talaga.
Other one, of course, is it depends also to an extent reaction ng mamamayan at mga stakeholders dito sa decision na ito.
So, Attorney, you're indicating that you might wait for a change of administration kasi si President Duterte pa rin yung mag-a-appoint niyong susunod na magre-retire, di ba?
But not necessarily change in administration. There'll be that's the reality. There'll be new faces in the Supreme Court, but we're not banking on that. At the end of the day, regardless of who they are, who appointed them, would like to believe that they will decide based on the arguments, the merits of the arguments, and what the Constitution in letter and in spirit says.
Yung vote is 12-3 Medyo mataas yun, ano? And the endorsers, especially in the Senate, they passed it after all, no? They're saying it's a victory for peace and the defeat of terrorists. Masisway kaya kayo if you see the arguments presented by the justices?
Well, when you say it is for peace, who can quarrel against peace, di ba? Sa amin ho naman, it's just the constitutionality of these provisions. And you don't need to be an expert in constitutional law to see some of these glaring conflicts with the basic law of the land. But we will wait and see how the majority opinion treated these arguments and these provisions of the Supreme Court and the question law. Titignan ho natin yung mga kanilang reasoning.
Kung sakasakali maging final yon, there's another option pa rin, you amend the law. Are you also considering this na maglalabi kayo with lawmakers to amend at least certain provisions or at least repeal it completely?
That's one avenue, no? Yung pagpupunta sa Supreme Court, that's turning to the judicial branch of government, which normally should be protective of the Constitution. Ngayon, kung hindi naman umubra yan, o sa tingin nila tama naman ng gobyerno, maaari din naming dalhin uli sa bagong Kongreso para i-improve yung batas. So, hope springs eternal. There'll be a new Congress. We don't know if there'll be any changes in the composition, but that's certainly one avenue.
Since it's a constitutional question, since there are several constitutional questions, kung sakasakaling tuloy-tuloy yung implementation, di ba? And there's a case that comes up, merong inaresto, terror suspect, you can still bring it up to the courts, di ba? And challenge the legality of that arrest and detention.
You're correct there, Ami. As a matter of fact, when we filed this, wala sa amin na aresto. We were filing it as taxpayers, concerned individuals, and for IBP, because we are mentioned in the law. We're supposed to participate in defending, but how can we be defending somebody being charged in a law that we find unconstitutional? So that gave us standing. But you're correct. Anyone who will be charged or arrested without warrant and detained for up to 24 days, anyone who's aggrieved can actually continue raising the constitutional. And I hope they do, so that the Supreme Court will be given a fresh opportunity to perhaps look at the issues deeper and hopefully reconsider.
Attorney, yung ibang concerns nyo, can they be addressed through implementing rules and guidelines? Like, for example, yung puro executive, members of the executive branch lang yung sa Anti-Terrorism Council. Can you include people from outside, from the church or from IBP?
Well, even if you include people from IBP, from the church, or any other sector, the fact is it's not a judicial agency. It's not part of the judiciary. And under the Constitution, ang nagdedetermine ng probable cause at nag-i-issue ng warrants of arrest, yung ating mga hukom and independent judiciary, not the legislative branch, not the executive branch. So kahit dagdagan mo pa yan ng NGO at kung sino-sino, it doesn't really correct the unconstitutionality to our mind. So yung IRR naman, hindi rin pwedeng palitan yung batas. The IRR is only implementing rules. It cannot rise above the law that it is trying to implement.